In this week's drive, we take an ice shower with the champ. See how the Chev Corvette's travelling. Look at the new Peugeot rally car. And watch one very happy trials winner. All this and more in this week's Drive. The Sauber team have unveiled their new Formula One car in a typically glamorous setting and style. They have a new driver lineup in Giancarlo Fisichella and Brazilian Felipe Massa, returning after a year with Ferrari as a test driver.
In the past, I never drove a very good car. I won a race last year in Brazil. I went on the podium many times. So I think to be one of the best drivers in Formula One with a good experience. I just need a good car, and then I would like to show my talent. I went to most of the races, and I were in every meetings. So I think you can learn a lot with Michael. So I mean, and with Rubens as well. And I'm sure that my experience now is completely different compared to 2002. So.
Fizzy was treated or subjected to a series of aerobatic manoeuvres in another high-tech machine sponsored by Red Bull. And judging by the expression on his face, he'd rather have been somewhere else, anywhere else. The privately owned Sauber team finished 6th overall last season, outperforming both Toyota, with one of the biggest budgets in the sport, and Ford-owned Jaguar, thanks to a points windfall at the US Grand Prix. The new C23 will have the same spec engine and gearbox as this year's Ferrari. Sauber have been using Petronas-badged Ferrari engines since 1997, but traditionally they've received the Italian team's previous season specification. But for 2004, the C23 will benefit from the world champion's latest V10, as well as their 7-speed gearbox. The launch of the new car was at Red Bull's Hangar 7 facilities at Salzburg Airport. English pop group The Sugar Babes hosted the ceremony, performing live before the new C23 car was unveiled.
Looking for love in all the right places. He was flirting with me, and Lord, I had to flirt back. And I fell in love right there on the dance floor. Yeah.
The team had abandoned the much-copied twin-keel front suspension concept, now espoused by the radical-looking new Williams, to achieve greater stiffness. Despite that, the car, bearing a marked resemblance to the 2003 championship-winning Ferrari, but with an enlarged engine cover, failed a mandatory crash test and would have to retake it later this month. The team had tried to make everything smaller and had paid the price for it. Sauber traditionally seemed to struggle to develop the car during the season, but this year will benefit from a multi-million-dollar investment in one of the most technically advanced wind tunnels in Formula One. Despite the hype, the life of a Formula One star isn't only about racing and testing. Sometimes the world's top drivers get to have a winter holiday with their workmates and a small posse of the world's press. The traditional Ferrari team off-season break gave the media a chance to see how the sport's elite relax, and arriving by private helicopter is just the beginning for 6-time world champion Michael Schumacher. After spending Christmas with his young family in Norway, Schumacher flew to the Italian winter resort for some off-season fun with his teammates in what has become the traditional annual team-building exercise. Michael said he's ready to continue in Formula One beyond the end of his current Ferrari contract in 2006. But the record 6-time world champ said that the time to quit would come if his teammate, Brazilian Rubens Barrichello, was quicker than him. Ducati MotoGP racer Loris Capirossi was invited along, prompting the unanswered question, is he considering a move to four wheels? But the team also confirmed the extension of Rubens' contract.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, it's something that we've only signed the real contract yesterday, but the intention and all the papers have been going through faxes on and off all the time. So we basically knew just before Christmas that was what we want, and I've always been very proud of the situation, because it's not just something that Rubens is believing on the work of Ferrari. It is something that Ferrari is believing on the work of Rubens. We never talk about one year. We've always talked about 2 years more. So this gives me a great pleasure, and it was always my first option.
After that announcement, team leader Michael admitted that he was glad to have Rubens staying with the team for another 2 years as his wingman.
Yeah, obviously I'm very happy on that. I think it was a very natural and logical decision. If you look at it, there was nothing better Ferrari could have done, and we have a good team spirit, a good team atmosphere. We have a lot of success. We have a stable situation from all the management, and to have a stable situation from the drivers can only help. And we all know, since he's in the team, what the team has achieved.
Barrichello joined Ferrari in 2000 after 7 seasons in Formula One with Jordan and then Stuart Ford.
I've always said I've been very proud of having Michael as a teammate. I've been always compared to the best, and we have a great relationship together. We work well for the team and to the team, which means we can have good years ahead.
Ferrari will unveil their latest car at Maranello soon, but Barrichello was coy when asked what he expected of the new car.
Well, it's a tough question, because the car is beautiful as always, but it's we have to wait and see. I mean, just next couple of weeks we're going to have the new car presented, and we're going to start testing. The plans are for us to take the new car to the new season, to Melbourne, and if all goes well, I hope the car is competitive enough for us to really do it.
So, can he finally deliver that first world title this season after 10 years in Formula One?
Who knows, but I keep on fighting. I have the number 2 on the car, and I have to work hard to have number 1 next year. I keep on.
For his part, Schumacher said he's still enjoying the sport and would be happy to stay on beyond the end of his current Ferrari contract. But he said the time to quit would come if he lost the edge. That would be potentially dangerous. The German said a faster rival from another team would merely prompt him and Ferrari to try harder. 6 times a champion, Schumacher is the undisputed king of Formula One, but he claimed his skills on the slopes aren't as good.
I think actually my skiing improved much more than my racing, which I think I'm lucky about, because if I would have been that bad in racing, I would have never been arrived in Formula One. But no, it's a great enjoyment to be skiing every year here, because there's good condition, good results, a lot of friends. I really like to come here.
For this season, Schumacher expects tough competition from the Williams, McLaren and Renault teams.
Basically, I foresee a very tough competition for this year. We know our rivals are strong, but we will be strong too, I have no doubt. It will be an interesting season, because I don't think you can say, if somebody clearly is in front in the beginning of the season, that he will be the champion in the end of the season, because it's going to be a long season with a lot of changes through the season.
The signing of his new contract ends speculation linking Rubens with a move to Williams in 2005 as replacement for fellow South American Juan Pablo Montoya, who is switching to McLaren. Coming from tropical Brazil, Rubens understandably doesn't go in much for winter sports. As he pointed out, he snowboards for only 1 or 2 days a year, so he's only a beginner, although his skiing isn't bad. Barrichello played a decisive role in securing Schumacher's 2003 title win by taking the last Grand Prix of the season in Japan and preventing McLaren's Kimi Raikkonen from leapfrogging Ferrari's #1 driver. In contrast to his teammate, and despite his claims to the contrary, Schumacher is very competent on the slopes. The team took part in various ski races with invited guests like Loris Capirossi, a friend of Ferrari test driver Luca Badoer. Italian Capirossi scored a maiden MotoGP season win for the Italian Ducati team. and said it was like an Italian winning in a Ferrari. Then it was time for something a bit closer to home, a kart race, although poor old Rubens would have a steep learning curve here too. In his time at Ferrari, Rubens has often been obliged to play second fiddle to teammate Michael Schumacher on the track, most notably in controversial circumstances in Austria 2 years ago, when he was ordered to move over when within sight of the checkered flag. It hasn't stopped the popular driver racking up 7 wins while helping Ferrari to 4 constructors' titles in a row. This season, Schumacher will be aiming for a 5th successive driver's title and an unprecedented 7th in total. Earlier, Capirossi had been racing around the slopes on a snowmobile, but the experience hadn't given him a winning advantage once he, Rubens, Luca and Michael got onto 4 wheels. The Ferrari team is intact and in touch, but Michael's brother Ralph, who followed his brother into Formula One in 1997, is currently in talks with the Williams team about extending his contract. The only place to be in this race was in front. Shards of sharp ice are churned up by those spiked tyres. But at least this time there were no team orders, although the finish did look like there might have been some.
It's a fantastic event. It's a good atmosphere. We have a lot of fun events we're doing here for the skiing, for the karting, for the fiacolata. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and even in the evening, plenty of dancing.
Schumacher wouldn't elaborate on his own contractual obligations or even his plans for the future, but there are suggestions that Ferrari may offer him an extension to his contract following reports, both in Germany and Italy, that he may retire in 2006 or even before. Despite what he says, Michael certainly gets down the hills at a fair pace, although his Northern European heritage probably doesn't hurt. That and his natural competitive instinct. Undoubtedly the finest racing driver of the modern era, Michael earns a staggering salary for doing what comes naturally to him. But interestingly, he doesn't get a company car from Ferrari, for the road anyway. Instead, he and Rubens drive top-drawer Maseratis, another supercar maker owned by Ferrari's parent, Fiat. It might be freezing outside, but inside, everything was hotter than hot.
Excited for 2 reasons. It's about product, and it's also about how robust the economy is, and we see positive signs in both areas. The economy is looking better, different stages of development, but around the world it's growing in strength, and we've got a lot of new products, whether it's here in the U.S., other markets that we're getting in some cases very key markets like the Astra in Europe, that are really going to help us out. So we're looking forward to 04 as a chance to be a good year.
6 times in 51 years. That's how many times a new Corvette platform has been brought into this world. That's not very many, so the car you see here, the 6th generation 2005 Corvette, is big news for enthusiasts of the Bruiser Cruiser. The Corvette C6 Coupe is 5 inches shorter and 1 inch narrower than the current car. It features exposed high-intensity discharge headlamps, the first time since 1962 that a production Corvette has not had pop-up lamps. With a 0.28 coefficient of drag, the C6 is the most aerodynamically efficient Corvette ever built and rolls on 18-inch front and 19-inch rear wheels. The chassis, with its rear axle-mounted transmission and aluminium cockpit structure, has been revised for structural integrity, refinement and quietness. Technology includes a tyre pressure monitoring system, an optional voice recognition DVD navigation system with GPS, and a colour touchscreen.
One of the things we do is we stay very close to our customers, our Corvette clubs all around the world. They communicate with us, they tell us what they like, they tell us what to expect, they tell us what things not to mess with, they tell us what things they'd like to have a little bit more of. If you stay close to your customer in all vehicles, it's important. And with Corvette, it's just because it is an icon, you have to be true to the brand, true to the mark.
A convertible version will go on sale in 6 to 8 months' time. The new aluminium V8 engine is all 6s and 4s. 6 litres delivers 400 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 400 foot-pounds of torque at 4,400 RPM via a 6-speed manual gearbox. It's the largest, most powerful small-block engine ever offered in a Corvette.
This is the new Pontiac G6.
Based on the recent Pontiac G6 concept, the production version offers muscle to back up the sporty looks. The top-of-the-line GTP comes with a 3.9-litre engine that's good for 240 horsepower. Pontiac is trying to rebuild its performance car image, offering a shift-it-yourself automatic or an optional 6-speed manual transmission. Other versions include a model with a 170 horsepower 2.4-litre engine and a 200 horsepower 3.5-litre V6. 16-inch wheels are standard on the basic model, but GT and GTP models get 17s with an 18-inch wheels available as an option. A unique feature of the G6 is the panoramic sunroof that opens in 4 sections and looks like a roof spoiler.
The intent here is if we look at the competitive market set, there really isn't very aspirational vehicles in this mid-size sedan segment. I mean, once you get into a sedan configuration, it becomes a pretty humdrum vehicle, and the intent here is to not lose any of the excitement of the Pontiac brand in something that is a pretty traditional configuration as a 3-box sedan.
The Pontiac Solstice Roadster will appear as a 2006 model. First shown at the 2002 Detroit show, the Solstice was designed from the ground up in less than 4 months, promising open-air driving freedom in the spirit of the great roadsters of the past. The production model remains true to the original concept, including rear-wheel drive, 2-passenger seating, and a reverse hinged clamshell bonnet over a double overhead cam variable valve 4-cylinder engine, producing about 170 horsepower. Interior design has details like pedals placed for easy heel and toe driving and a cockpit-style instrument panel that sweeps around the driver.
Well, I think they're going to look at this car and they're going to say, it reminds me of a lot of the prestigious German roadsters, only maybe it looks even better, and I can't believe that this is priced at below $20,000.
Based on the same chassis, the Saturn Curve concept car is built in fiberglass panels over a steel tube structure, with roof pillars concealed by a wraparound canopy of glass to create a look of a floating roof panel. Sporty performance is provided by a supercharged 2.2-litre 200 horsepower 4-cylinder engine paired with a Getrag 5-speed manual transmission. Unique 7-spoke 20-inch wheels are fitted with performance tyres, while monster 14-inch brake rotors with twin-piston front calipers provide stopping power. The powertrain, chassis and brake system are based on existing production components. Just how close to production might the Curve really be? When the doors are open, the door panels change to orange-red to act as a warning light, eliminating the need for a reflector. Yet another variation on the same platform is the Chevy Nomad concept. Not a sedan, a wagon, an SUV, or any other definable vehicle, the Nomad supposedly evokes the spirit of the 1954 Chevy Nomad concept vehicle, including its round headlamps mounted on gently curving fenders, a trademark Corvette grille, and a forward-sloping B-pillar. It was designed in Britain with the help of Italian coach builder Pininfarina. A turbocharged version of the 2.2 4-cylinder engine drives the Nomad via an electronic 5-speed automatic transmission. The concept features clever details to accommodate large, bulky items, such as a removable rear roof panel, a folding tailgate, and a sliding cargo floor that extends over the folded tailgate, so items on the load floor can easily be pushed into the cargo area. The cool blue interior and dash lighting are more reminiscent of a nightclub than a car, but that is exactly what Chevy was going for. Detroit opens the season with American ideas. The next major show is in Geneva in March, where European car makers will strut their stuff. The Rally of Monte Carlo kicks off the 2004 World Rally season, and teams have been putting the final touches to their preparations, among them Peugeot, who are launching a brand new car, the 307 WRC, to succeed the successful 206. The 206 won a hat-trick of manufacturers' titles between 2000 and 2002, and also gave Marcus Gronholm 2 World Championships. New signings Freddie Loix and co-driver Sven Smeerts have been giving the 307 some pre-season throttle on the roads around San Remo in Italy.
It's feeling very well. We have been working quite a lot the last few months, and we have done a lot of testing on tarmac, but also on snow for Sweden and Monte Carlo. We are not yet yet, but it's looking good.
Loix of Belgium, Finns Gronholm and Harry Rovanperä, and Frenchman Gilles Panizzi will be Peugeot's full-time drivers over the coming year, with Briton Richard Burns absent from the season while he's treated for a brain tumour. Both Loix and Gronholm have tested the 307 to good effect. Loix explains the key differences with their new model.
It's a completely different car in the way that the 307 is a little bit longer wheelbase, so it's also much more progressive, and it's also a complete new engine, new transmission, so it's a completely new car.
The 33-year-old Belgian, one of the most popular drivers on the circuit, moved to Peugeot from Hyundai last year, and he's hoping the switch will give him the chance to prove his ability. But watch what happens next, under the car.
Yeah, of course. My team before was also a nice team, but they didn't have the same possibilities than Peugeot. Now I'm in a big team of one of the biggest teams in the world, and like I said, I think the last month they have been more driving in 1 month than they did the last few years. So yes, it's fantastic, and everybody's working hard, and especially now with the new car, we have done so much testing and so much development testing that I not have been home a lot, but it doesn't matter. It will be a good preparation for Monte Carlo.
And Peugeot's development plans don't end here. Ominously, the team has a link with the European Space Agency, meaning state-of-the-art materials in future rally cars. Germany hosted the Koblenz indoor trial, 4th of 12 rounds in the World Championship. Dougie Lamkin held a 2-point lead in the title, having won 2 of the previous rounds. But the British Montesa rider failed to reach the 4-man final after picking up 11 penalties in the qualification heat. Lamkin's compatriot Graham Jarvis conceded 5 penalties in the same round, contested over 7 observed sections. Sherco rider Jarvis would finish with 19 points in the final, ending up in 4th place. Like Jarvis, Spain's Albert Cabastany produced a fine display in qualifying, only to see his hopes of victory disappear in the final. Cabastany would concede 16 points and settle for 3rd place. Spain's Adam Raga claimed the 4th and final place in the deciding round with 7 penalties in qualifying. The Gas rider would concede another 7 to finish in joint 1st place after 7 sections. Leading the qualifying round with just 3 points, Japan's Takahisa Fujinami could almost taste the first world indoor win of his trials career. Despite a poor performance in the final, the Honda rider finished level with Raga and faced the Spaniard in a double-lane race to decide the winner. There was little to separate the two riders as they reached the halfway point, but Fujinami took the upper hand on the return to the vertical start-finish ramp. Despite riding on just one wheel, Raga stumbled on the obstacle course, and he lost valuable time as Fujinami accelerated towards a memorable victory. Fujinami's win throws the championship wide open, as it looks like both he and Raga could challenge 7-time world champion Lamkin for the season's honours. 10 championship points takes Fujinami's tally to 27, within 7 points of the championship lead. Raga displaced Lamkin at the top of the standings. He now has 34 points compared to Lamkin's 32. The season continues with a 5th round in Marseille in France. So, whether you're testing a new car, trying to keep your lunch, or looking to the future, so you stay on track and up to speed, make sure you catch next week's Drive.